course, to the viewers as well, whoever's watching this, welcome to this age, another episode of the interview series. It's a collaborative project, between Layers, my brand, and Drummer Boy Studios. So today I've got, Haseebah?
Haseebah, yeah.
Haseebah,
Yeah.
okay, well, phew. I got it
A
right.
lot of people getting wrong, a lot of people getting wrong.
So I've got Haseebah with me today, and we're gonna just speak, to her about her process. Of course, I understand you're recently graduated, or you're graduating soon.
Yeah, I'm graduating soon, so I'll finish uni. I'll just need to graduate now.
Okay, cool. So can you tell? Obviously, I know a bit more about you because you've actually spoken on Skype, just to kind of understand, your process a bit better.
Yeah.
Because I'm quite interested in your work. But for people that don't know you or that haven't sort of met you, how would you, can you tell them a bit more about yourself? So, like your education background or your studies background and stuff?
So, I'm from Birmingham, I'm 21, and as an educational background, so I do illustration at Birmingham City University. I've just finished that now, and I've always just been interested in art, so I did art courses during college as well, and even in secondary school.
Oh, okay.
So I did art GCSE, and then in A-level I did A-level art and A-level graphics as well.
Okay, cool. So there was only one path that you're always going to go into. It was just art from the start.
It wasn't really art from the start. It
really?
Was a bit, I wanted to go into science really in the beginning, so it was chemistry and biology that I wanted to go into.
Okay, yeah.
And mom was everyone wants to pursue I want to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor one day.
Yeah,
so
that's the big
what?
thing.
Yeah, I want to be a doctor. And then I realized I actually didn't want to be a doctor in college. I was like, you know what? I really like art, I really like English, I want to do something creative then, and it's only until I did A-level biology and chemistry and I was like, you know what, you're surrounded by people who are constantly thinking about biology and chemistry, it's it's not for me.
Oh yes.
I realised then we have a different wavelength and it wasn't making me happy at the end of the day.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you did it to a certain level then, you pursued it to... Yeah,
because with college I was like, okay, I'm going to do biology, chemistry, I did English, and I was like, I'll do art for a year. It'll be a nice, fun subject that I can do, and I can drop it in the second year, but then obviously
it was the whole way around. So what did you drop then? So you dropped biology and English?
I dropped biology and chemistry, carried on English and art, and then I added on graphics as well. So so I got into uni with those qualifications.
Those three, yeah. Okay, that's cool. And what are you passionate about? And obviously you're passionate about art because that's something you've done growing up, and you said you've sent yourself to courses and stuff and you studied art, but what are you actually passionate about? Is that it, or is there anything else?
It's it's art, but it's also representing. That's what I'm interested about. So my artwork, it's all about culture. It's about myself, as a Muslim hijabi woman as well. It's just representing all these little things that kind of make me in a way.
Yeah. Through your work.
Yeah, through my work. Even through my work, even just through seeing some writing or anything else, or seeing any photography that inspires me. But that's what I want to portray out.
Okay. Yeah. And why? Next I was going to ask was why art, and I guess why specifically why illustration? Obviously, art is this. There's so many different levels and so many different modules and different specialty, I guess, to speak. How did you decide on illustration?
I feel especially when I went to the open days, what was good about illustration, it was that it was so vast and it was so varied. I feel with fine art, it's okay, you're gonna create some artwork and it's gonna be exhibited, and I feel it's just so much more of a harder path to get into.
Okay, that's
especially when you finish oh my god, it's after I graduate, I have to sell this work. It's going to be so much harder. With illustration, you can go into graphics, and I have some people on my course that go into graphics or fashion or even animation as well.
Yeah.
And that's what appealed to me. Because I know that I changed my mind quite quickly, so it was good to
have something.
Yeah, be in illustration, and then if I changed my mind, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I could carry on with
you can
what
and I guess. Have you mentioned for some people, someone I guess your colleagues, I guess, or people on your course that have decided what they're gonna do, and what kind of avenues they're gonna channel. Have you decided what you wanna do?
Thing is,
or are you still kind of deciding?
Yeah, I'm kind of deciding. I feel I'm not gonna put myself in a box, and then because if I do that, then I'm just bound to get my expectations are just gonna go down and everything. I'm gonna get disappointed. So I feel like with me, I'm just like an open book right now. I'm open to anything. I'm open to any design work, any fashion work.
Yeah. So whatever comes your way, you're like,
I feel like anything is just a good opportunity right now because I'm so young.
Yeah.
I feel like it's good to not just tie myself down to like one little.
Like before I started layers and one of the my research and of course I'm interested in fashion, but interested in being someone that wears clothing or that's like fashionable, and knowing the business of fashion are two completely different things.
Yeah.
And I used to research like into fashion and be like, oh, like what makes this industry tick? And people used to say like I would read articles that said, oh, like back in the 70s or 80s and stuff, fashion was always like marginalized as an industry. Because people didn't see it as like like a proper work. Like you can't be like a fashion designer. Like that's not a doctor. So it wasn't seen at the time as like a proper quote unquote like a proper job. Like people were just either you're like work in like an hospital or you work like maybe like in like in trade or whatever. So artistry I guess has changed over the years. What an artist is. I guess with your work, you've adopted like dry point etching, and we were discussing it when we were sort of speaking about lino print and stuff. Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
So with the lino, like, because my project it's about the Syrian refugee crisis. So that was my final project, and I've always been interested in printmaking and like relief printing. So I thought it'd be like it's a nice way to show the artwork, and not a lot of people know about printmaking. Yeah. So I thought it'd be good, and it kind of brings it down to basics, brings it back to tradition as well. Because I feel like so many more people are into like digital drawing and digital art. They don't know that much about traditional stuff except for like painting or like a normal pencil drawing. So it would be good to just put like a spin on things and just expose people to like what you can achieve if you do a bit of printmaking, if you do a bit of lino print. Yeah.
And lino print, when did you first kind of develop your interest or your love for that? Yeah. When did that start?
So that started in college. My teacher, she was like mad about printmaking, like she just loved it so much, she encouraged everyone to do it. And from then, like we had these really rubbish lino tools, and you had to keep on you cut yourself like every 5 minutes from that. But I did love that end result. Like when you start doing it, because you have to cut into like just imagine almost like a piece of wood, but it's a bit softer. And you just think like, what the hell am I doing? But once you put the ink on and then you press it through, it's like that's my end result. That's like actually makes sense at the end of it.
Yeah, and obviously when you mentioned like putting the ink and stuff, so like you could maybe you could carve someone's face or carve something into the wood or the material. And obviously that once you put the paint over it. And then that process, like the print, what's the print? Like for someone that doesn't know about that kind of, or maybe someone that might be listening and they might want to explore that more. What's the print? Like how do you print it?
It's so it's like a type of relief print. So with that, what you do is you carve the actual piece. And then imagine you get some ink and then you roll on top of that piece.
Oh, right.
So you roll on top of that piece.
And
then you get like a piece of paper, you place that on top of the piece. And then you place both of those onto a press.
Oh, a press, right.
Onto a press, and then like you put the top over it, and then you just roll it through. And then once it goes back out again, then you just peel the paper off, and it should be printed onto the paper.
It's kind of similar to like what I can, in terms of print, I can think of like like it's gonna be so random to my football. Like when they like print like players like their name on the kit and stuff like that. And then obviously like they bring the press and stuff, and then like they kind of just peel it off. Obviously, but they've put like the letters inside the what do you call it? What do you guys call that? The thing that they have to peel off. What's that called?
I think is it on about are you on about screen print? It's like that.
So okay, cool. And then in terms of etching, like what's the similarities between that and lino print? Like can you explain that a bit more?
It's the same. So they're both. I think they are both type of like relief print. But with that, it's plastic, and you can scratch into whatever image that you want to scratch into. But with that, with the dry point, it's different because you're like rubbing the ink into the plastic and then taking away any excess. And then the ink is like trapped almost into the little grooves that you've kind of
scratched into it.
So with this way, you do then the same thing. It's the same process towards the end when you put it through a press, have the paper on top. When you peel the paper off, the ink should be transferred onto the paper from the little grooves.
Thanks for sharing that. So, and then, of course, it brings me to the one of the other things I'm really interested in, because obviously you've used, those two traditional methods to, portray the story in Syria and the war, and obviously kind of like the crisis and the refugee stuff that's going on out there in the Middle East. So I know, when I saw that initially on Twitter, I was like, really interested. I wanted to know more, like, about the story and how kind of like these works came about as a result of that. So. When did you first really understand the war? Like, when did you first kind of when did you first wake up to what was going on out there?
I feel like it's always, well, the one thing that made me realise about it was a few years ago when all of the refugees were coming in, there were images about that, and I think there was one little boy that drowned, and then he was like almost flung up onto the beach.
Yeah.
And a lot of people reacted to that because it was a young kid.
Yeah.
And then after that, I saw like bits and bobs on Twitter. But then most of the time, it's like a lot of people were complaining about the refugees coming in.
Yeah. People were always, that was always on the news, like it was always, oh, refugees are coming.
Yeah, so it's from the negativity that made me want to know more about it. That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So like from that, and how many years ago roughly was that? I mean, 4 years ago? Because the whole thing started in, I've done my research into it a bit more now. 2011, that's when the whole Arab Spring stuff kind of started. And, the evolution and stuff. Is it evolution or revolution? I think they called it revolution, isn't it? They were calling it,
the Civil War.
The Civil War and stuff, everything kind of like transpired. So obviously, as a fallout of that, obviously it takes a few years and people start to kind of flee and they want to go to better, go to other countries and other pastures new. So obviously, so you started getting interested in that, and then did you follow up the story, or I'm guessing when you saw the image of the boy that drowned, were you starting uni or were you finished?
I think I was starting uni, but then I actually in first year I did a little project on refugees.
Okay.
But with that one, I did it more broad, so I did like refugees from like third world countries. So I remember doing one refugee that was from Afghanistan, one that was from Nigeria, one that was from Pakistan. So I did that. So that was more varied. I think only after that, and then when the recent news came in about the refugees coming through, that's when I was like, okay, I want to revisit this, but then just specify it a bit more on the actual Syrian refugee crisis.
Okay, cool. And obviously, you started. What were the first steps you took? Because I'm quite interested. So, what obviously you know about the story, and of course, I'm guessing you pretty much a bit more of the news to see what's going on. How did that inspire works out of you? How did that inspire you creatively to be like, oh, I want to talk about this?
Yeah. I feel like with that, because it was such a big issue, I was like, you know what, I need to do loads of research. So I got a little sketchbook out. I got all these photojournalists that I looked at as well. They were interviewing refugees, they were taking pictures of them as well, of the possessions that they had. And I just made like a whole little sketchbook about that, just so it could fill in the gaps for me of what I wanted to create. Because you can't really create something without knowing the backstory behind it. So with that, I just created like a whole little sketchbook, and from there, I picked up on a lot of the refugees. I think I wrote a statistic of 50 or 60% of refugees were children.
Right, that were fleeing and stuff with their parents or relatives.
So from that, I was like, you know what, I want to focus in on that, but do it in a way where it's not too conflicting, when it's not too much politics involved, when it's just about the kids. Or just about the mom and the kids with the parents.
So you're kind of like doing you were doing your research, and were you kind of sketching things down, or were you more kind of like collecting pictures at the time?
I was collecting pictures, I was doing annotations, but I was also like now and again doing pencil sketches as well. I think once I did like a little acrylic painting, and I thought that was interesting, but I was like, it's taking too long.
Okay.
And I remember from my previous project doing relief printing, and I was like, you know what, this could like intertwined together, so I started to do, I think I did one lino print, and from then I was like, okay, like this could really hit off.
Okay, cool. And of course, fast forward now, obviously your final project is, a lot of it is quite inspired by, again, the war and kind of the crisis and stuff. I understand also that 50% of the proceedings you get from these work, you're going to try to give it to a charity that will help. That's going to be helping people out, the refugees and stuff. it's quite. I mean, it's the whole story is quite conflicting and it's quite complicated because a lot of people actually don't have that that full information, knowledge of what's going on. It took me a few days to really like ramp up and research that. So because you just hear the news and you kind of just get on with life because that this thing's happening that you're not happy about it, but you kind of just feel like, well,
it's like what can I do?
Yeah. Like, So do you feel like more artists or people that have the platform, or even especially like young people like ourselves, like that are into the creative industry, do you feel like it's important for us to try and use our platforms to kind of like tell these stories, or do you feel like it depends if you have that kind of desire or if you have that kind of, I guess if you're passionate about that, I guess.
I feel like a lot of people have the desire for it, but it's like they don't want to rock the boat too much.
Yeah.
And I feel like especially with the art industry, it's getting a bit more diverse now, but not that diverse, and people don't want to put too many opinions out there in case it causes a backlash.
Yeah.
And then they end up having like a bad reputation from that. So I feel like some people try and play it safe, but I feel like if you do have an idea and you do want to portray something that you're really passionate about, just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would encourage it.
Yeah.
If people are back into that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Because I just did it right now, and I feel like it's one of my best work. But I feel like I've gotten a lot of good comments from it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. Did your background kind of influence what kind of career you wanted to pursue in a way?
It did in a way because, like, coming from an Asian background, they want you to pursue something that will get money. That's the end goal. They want you to be successful. So it's like, be a doctor, be a nurse, be all of that. But with me, I always wanted to do something different. I've always been like that creative kid in the family. Everyone's like, oh my god, there's Haseebah, like, she's drawing over there in the corner, something like that. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna play on that. People know that I'm the arty kid in the family. Might as well just go
like,
into it.
Go into it.
But it did influence me a lot because you do want to, like, at the end of the day, like, impress your family, and you do want to be like, okay, like, I want to be successful, especially like I just want to make them proud of me in a way. But I feel like with this, I'm glad with the career path that I've chosen. Like, I know now whatever that I do, they'll still be like happy with it.
They'll still support it. So I mean, so initially, of course, it might have taken a while for people to warm up to that idea, but obviously with time, it's like, oh yeah, it's fine. She's doing what she's doing. And I guess with the digital age as well, has that helped?
I feel like
the fact that it's like people can study, art, and people can study like fashion, these things, and they can make a career because there's jobs out there.
Because I feel like with Instagram as well, like, it's helped so much. Someone could like not go to university or anything else like that, or not even do art in college. They can just pick up a pen, they can draw something and just put it out onto the internet and see what they get back. And half the time with the Instagram, it is just a bit of a gamble. And it's like, oh my god, what if I put this out and no one will like it? But then when you get that one comment saying, oh my god, I love this artwork, or someone messaging you saying that I'd really like to buy it, it gives you a confidence boost that you didn't really think that you needed, or it would give you that much of a confidence. But it is really good, and I just feel like with social media overall it is a big advantage.
Okay, cool. And I guess with yourself, obviously having to you grew up in Birmingham. Have you always lived in Birmingham, or did you moved?
Born and bred. Literally, my family were all literally like a herd. All of us are like Birmingham.
Okay, and that's like the second largest, like obviously the second most populated city in the UK. Did you know that?
Yeah, living in there, I realised that it is.
It's quite. Is it quite? Does it feel big? Does it feel like it's a big city, or?
In the central, it feels. In the city centre, it doesn't really feel that big. But once I'm in my community and I'm in my area, it's like, it does make sense. Because my area, it is really multicultural. And when you think about it, it's like, okay, so many people from different parts of the world have come together, and it does make sense. And it's, for me, it is an advantage that it is such a multicultural place.
Society.
Because I'm exposed to so many different more cultures and so many different more people than I would thought I'd know about.
And that's interesting because you mentioned that when we were speaking off camera, like when you came to the studio and you were talking about, you said some of your tutors and some of your lecturers didn't really understand why your work is kind of geared towards like culture. You know, can you just explain a bit more about that experience of like them not really getting it?
Yeah, understanding it. I feel
Yeah.
like, because with me on my course, I was known as like the culture kid. Like, oh, Haseebah's gonna do something else on culture. Haseebah, oh, why don't you do this? And it's like, no, like, I want to expose culture. I want to expose, like, even though it might not be my culture, I want to know more about it and then have my perspective on it and show my work. And I feel like with some of the tutors, with them, they can be open-minded, but at the same time, it's difficult for them. If they like what they like, then they'll be interested in. Like some people, they're like, oh, I'm really interested in story writing, or I'm really interested in animation. And once they have that, they'll pick and choose who they want to spend more time with the students and everything.
So the tutors have their own interests in the things that they're interested in as well. So in a way, it might be difficult for a student that doesn't have that kind of interest, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if you're someone I want to focus on, I don't know, like I don't know, typography or something like such a different acronym to what they're interested in, then you might not get the same attention.
Yeah, it is. It's true, and you know what? It is a bit sad at the end of the day, because if you really want to do something and you really want to pursue something, it's good to have that emotional feedback and saying, you know what, you're doing really well with that. And I feel like with me, my progression really helped a lot with my tutor. The tutor that I had in first year and the tutor that I had in third year, she really helped me. Like
with your choices?
Yeah. She was like, Haseebah, like, this is really good. Like, she was giving me more tips about it, and I was like, okay, this is good, because sometimes you just need a bit of that support.
Do you travel much? Does traveling help as well? I mean, if you're interested in culture, is that something you plan to pursue more down the line?
Yeah, I feel like just traveling, like, in general, it opens your eyes a lot. I feel like a lot of people can be close-minded, and with me as well, I've been lucky to be in such a multicultural place. But I'd love to just like travel around, see more cultures. Like you'll see a bit, but you'll only know a bit about them. If that makes sense. So I'd love to just like see more of it, and I think traveling's really helped, especially in London as well. I feel like you just see so many different types of people around.
So like being in London like in the last few days, how was that different like compared to Birmingham? What's that like? Is it that different, or is it like actually no, not really?
I feel like, you know what, it's not that different. Like I look at some of the people there and I'm like, at the same time, I know that a lot of people in Central, they're not from here.
Yeah, because there's a lot of tourists as well. I'll
see people on the tube and they're like, okay, they're heading to work, or they're here for a holiday, or they're just tourists and everything else. So it's like it's like a jumble of people together.
It is. It really is. Like it's interesting. Like if you can think of the average nationality of people like on a tube, like on an average tube, just going. Like I don't know how many countries you'd have to if you were sticking a flag on top of everyone. It's so multicultural, and I think that's something that's so great about London.
Like with me, when I came here though, I prefer, like I went to the city centre and I found it was too busy, but coming more to these like other parts of London, like Peckham and everything else like that, it's like you get a big community here, and I feel like you learn more about like people's personalities.
Like in these communities, whereby if you see people like on a train, there's not so much.
It's like I'm heading to work.
I'm getting to work. Don't talk to me. That's a typical London thing.
It's
I promise you.
Like, I'm not gonna ask you for that.
Do you feel like opportunity, or do you feel like the opportunity is more kind of like looking towards London, or is it kind of, are you more interested in spreading your work like
I think
in that area as well?
I'll start off in Birmingham, but eventually I think it will move to London. I feel like with Birmingham as well, it's very, sometimes it can be very corporate.
Okay.
With London, no, with Birmingham I feel. Just everywhere I go, like even my tutors, they're all like, London this, London that, They never mention Birmingham that much.
It doesn't get mentioned, but that's what I was, that's one of the reasons that's one of the reasons I highlighted, like it's the second largest populated city. It doesn't always get mentioned. I hear more about Manchester or Liverpool than I hear about Birmingham, so it's interesting.
Like even like the street work there, the only thing that I could see like creatively, like a creative hub, is the custard factory in Digbeth in Birmingham, which is like near the city centre.
Okay, so that's like okay, cool. Has your faith played a part, in your interests and your passion?
Yeah, I feel like it has. A lot of people would be like, don't bring religion into it or anything
Yeah.
else, but I feel like it plays a major role, especially if you've grown up with it.
Yeah.
It plays a major role on how you'd like to be treated, how you want other people to treat you, and how the way that you live your life.
Yeah.
I feel, especially with my religion, there is a lot of like backlash with it, but all that I know is, okay, it's created me. Like with me, I wouldn't like draw something like overly explicit or anything else like that. That's just part of me. And I feel like, you know, religion generally, with my religion, as long as I know what it's about,
Yeah.
it can form me and it can put a positive light on my artwork as well.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, that's interesting actually. You know, you have like obviously your belief system and stuff, and you know the things you've looked into. You know, the researches and stuff you do for like again, especially like the Syria projects and stuff. You know, like did religion? I wanted to kind of highlight. Did religion kind of play a part in you being interested in that, or do you think that's just more like, or even if you wasn't a religious person, you should care about that? If that makes sense.
I feel like I'm not too sure with the Syrian, because like with Syria and everything else, it is a half about religion. It is that connection
It
first.
is connected, yeah.
But then with that, I feel like it's just more to do with humanity than anything else.
Yeah, yeah.
With that one, it's just like, okay, little kids are dying, people are dying. Maybe I should just shed some light on this.
On this, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a religion was the original connector.
Yeah.
Then from that,
it was more like
everything else evolved from that.
involved, yeah. Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I think it's just important to try and always look on the other side, because I think sometimes the news will get reported like in one direction.
Yeah.
And good thing is for people to actually form their own opinion and kind of look at the bright side of religion, like because it's not always about the wrong messages. It's always about the positive things that people in religious people are doing.
People are scared to talk about religion because it forms an opinion on them. But the thing is, religion sometimes it creates valid opinions, and you need to portray them out to tell people what you're all about, or else you'll just be like a wishy-washy person, if that makes sense. You'll have no depth to you.
You're going to graduate soon.
Yeah.
So what's next? Let's look to the future now.
With me, it's like, I feel like with people on my course, they're like, okay, I want to go into this and I want to go into this. I don't really have a specific plan. As yet, maybe it's just the type of person I am. I'm really like last minute as well. But it's like, for me, I don't want to have any expectations in case I get disappointed. So I'm just like, okay, I'll go into whatever revenue that I want to go into, as long as it's creative. I don't mind it.
So you're quite open.
Yeah, like I've applied, the jobs that I'm applying to, they are quite art-based right now, but it's like, I'm just going to try to connect with different art directors and different magazines and see where it takes me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd definitely love to be part of that process and to follow up this conversation, like, I don't know, who knows, like in 2 years, in 2 months or whatever, who knows
we'll see what happens
and stuff, like what the future holds. So, right, finally, can you tell me one thing you like about this age?
About my age?
About this age, as in like the current climate that we're in. Like creatively, like what do you like about this? I
feel like everyone now, the barriers are starting to break down. You're seeing more diversity, if that makes sense. So people like me 15 years ago, I wouldn't see a girl like a hijabi artist out and about, if that makes sense. I wouldn't see as many like multicultural people in the creative industries, but I feel like with my generation as well, we're pushing out. And what I like about this age is there's less, even though there's a lot of judgment, there's still loads of judgment out there, especially with the internet.
Yeah.
It's starting to break down a bit. Yeah.
So people aren't as judgmental, like people actually
I feel like people can say their story now without getting so much like, oh my god, like what are you saying now? It's freedom of speech.
Yeah, so there's more like individuality, like people are expressing themselves a bit more. Yeah, that's something that's resonated with a lot of people. Like a lot of guests on the series, like they mentioned like diversity, and that's like a big part of the current climate. And I guess that's something we just have to just continue harnessing, because I feel like there's still a lot of doors to break down. Like there's still a lot of barriers to get over. Thank you for your time. I mean, we had to get it done, and it was kind of perfect that you were in the city and stuff. So
perfect timing.
Perfect timing. So So thank you for you guys that are tuning in, into the series. That was an interesting conversation we just had. Like I mentioned at the start of the interview, it's a collaborative project. So do check out, Drummer Boy. This is drummerboy.com. And of course, the Layers website is in development, so that will be up and running at some point in the next few months. And of course, the YouTube channel is called Layers, but of course there would always be a link, wherever you're seeing this, if it's on social media, there would always be a link to take you to the full video anyway. Subscribe, like, share it. Let's keep these conversations going. If you've got comments, if you've got opinions, of course, just forward it to myself. Haseebah, I will put your social media handle. You can tell people how they can find you actually.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, so it's Haseebah_illustrations.
Yeah.
And with my Twitter, it's Haseebah_art. And if you want my email, it's haseebah.ali@hotmail.com.
Hotmail.com. Okay,
That's
cool.
really great.
So Hotmail.gmail.
Yeah, Hotmail.
Okay, cool.
You get the wrong one with that.
But I'll put a link, to your Instagram,
Yeah.
your social media account, and as always, give us ratings, leave your comments. Until next time, thank you so much for tuning in, and bye. Thank you.